Nobody sell you drugs without me saying that. You know why? I never saw you before.
My whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, so packed I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues for this guitar smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Felt like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good record. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good shepherd. Plus when you in hell, how did you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, I believe in fairy tales. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain. Something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword, with a style that they might just record. The only thing equal is the curse for the wicked and the righteous reward. Have mercy on the many, don't see it, separated from the tares. Now on my prayers and it's so big. A rebel, take the word by word of mouth. U.P.K, we the rebels that you heard about. Yeah. And it ain't gonna stop till 100 virgins in the house and I'm handing verdicts out. Yeah, right, you ain't heard a clout without a shadow of a doubt. These devils hitting licks off us. Fuck the bank, I'm about to stone the pocket, ticket open. Can't sweet talk, cannot stop us. And plus I know the feds watch us. I'm telling people that they church full of witch doctors. Put us in prison and stop violence. Meanwhile, U.P.K turn the rebels into rock wallers. And leave with mighty men. And now I understand things that never truly made sense. Like why I'm crying at this funeral for a criminal, knowing you ain't innocent. It's fucked up. But my boot shot, standing between two priests, about to blaze on their ass, call it tough love. Look out for niggas just love, and wouldn't touch a white bitch with OJ's like gloves. Father, forgive me for my error. I'm forever by your side, clean and punishment of all my flaws. This the reason I'm alive. Thank God for this truth, cause for a long time I was a rebel without a cause.
Look, man, first time I met his man, GEN.YAHANNA, man, here 3807.
Rebel without a cause.
My little daughter with me, opened the door, he was dropping the truth on me and all that.
Rebel without a
yeah,
cause.
man, you know, you do your time, we taking them out and training in hand-to-hand combat.
Rebel without a cause,
yeah,
is the reason I'm alive. Thank God for this truth, cause for a long time I was a rebel without a cause.
You cannot whoop us. We're already dead. We're already beaten down. We've been beaten down for 400 years. We already got the wounds inside and outside our bodies. How are you gonna hurt us? You cannot threaten us. You cannot frighten us. We live in the most frightening places, under the most frightening conditions. We are immune to fear. We are immune to harm. You see what I'm saying? You have stepped into a cesspool. You're the only one gonna get infected.
And strike, finish the kill. Influenced by might, with every sentence reveal. I won't pay back, fuck the dollar bill. Remain calm. I endure until I let this pump possess my phones in memory and inventil. I only live to do my master's will. It's U.P.K, motherfucker. Ain't no cowards on this battlefield. Gone astray but made greater. In my return, left with my mistakes. Now I don't fool, let's get approved. Take a step till it get confirmed. Armed and tape, it was made like sex. March like a tank. One step will make the ground shake. My people sick in their head, Lord, let this truth spread like an outbreak and bring hell and the crackers can't escape. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I'm gonna pay that made memoirs till Christ arrived. I can't let it slide. Ignore the lies. The only free will that's before your eyes is life or death, nigga, you decide. This heaven was made for me and my fellow. I patiently wait with my eyes on the sparrow, and I pull the trigger while my lips kiss the barrel. Before I ever let a white bitch do me like Othello. I want out this wicked life like Romello. By any means, this devil pulling strings like Geppetto. Lay hold on this brotherhood, I swear I never let go. And fuck that silver spoon, got too much love for the ghetto. Till the score set up with BB, I die for the cause. Just to hear them angels applaud. Hard and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with them angels, boy, I like that. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with them angels, boy, I can't be touched. Came through in the clips, they hate but they can't doubt us. We freaks instead of power, what you know prepared me to live. I'm hungry for the glory, but I ain't eating till I feed my next. One West, what I die for. Attire out the book of numbers, this rifle from the Archangel Michael. My niggas rebels, you can't deny them. It's 144, I be running to and fro with the I.S.U.P.K. My I.S.U.P.K soldiers, ain't no folding or pretending. We in it for them crowns, fuck friends, we want dominion. In the election ascension, I hope I make it through. Give a damn what a bitch think, as long as my niggas know I'm true. Betray your kind and get success. We make it through the eye of the needle, nigga. I be like, may be hard, but I can't give up. Oh, my nigga go hard, and I won't give up. And could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with your angels, boy, I like that. May be hard, but I can't give up. My nigga go hard and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with them angels, boy, I can't be touched.
Test 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Said confession good for the soul. So right now,
all I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made before. Prayed to him all the time, and I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster and shot call. To be known with them niggas letting shots off. Either that or the right hand to the top door. Funny how it's embedded in that the lives lost. Can't be focused on the life that's hopeless. Out there pumping, not knowing the Lord will kill you for that hocus pocus. Used to roll with niggas that cook dope with weaponry. Same ones claim they love you. I had no life in jeopardy. And I know my mother wants success for me. But that D should take a girl straight to ecstasy. Remember running with bruh. Even though we did the wrong thing, my life would have been a lot different if I fell up under Rob's wing. Was too sincere for a wicked game. Shame the Lord's name. Now we afflicted with pain. All I ever wanted was to be respected by stand-up niggas, not knowing that the all I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster. I ain't lying, I was close to dying. Knew I wanted to live, but I wasn't trying. I was defiant, not knowing that this ain't how we live. This just how they design. Cause when you in the streets, you get more indebted. They don't tell you gonna be on papers, and no restrictions. My father said a hard head to make a soft ass. I didn't care, I wanted fear. Lake Street. Pissing in the cup, back and forth to court. Found the DC school, I swear it felt like I cried on that fucking porch. The Lord said, my sheep, they ain't hear my voice. Asked me why I'm UPK, I told them I ain't have a choice. They said God ain't 50-50 and what's gonna come to pass. The Lord called me out the world, that's how right all it was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster. I.S.U.P.K until it hit the fan. I want power and a throne, nigga, fuck them grams. All I wanted was to be a gangster, but I was real as a righteous man. And now I got the upper hand, gotta promote this brand. Correct whole multitudes until they all under jam. Shit, I needed help, but I was locked up in the judge put man on the shelf. Had me crying cause it felt like I was left by myself. All I wanted was to impress niggas with my grinding. Now I ain't trying to prove shit to nobody but Muhammad. Cause most these niggas lie, blood smoke. One time for the most high, he made me a cutthroat. Cause all I ever wanted, go ahead, was to smash my opponents. Go ahead, stacking cash, not knowing it wouldn't last. Then God, I hope you accept my atonement. Go ahead, cause all I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was a danger. Decisions that I made before the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time when I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was a danger. Decisions that I made before the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time when I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster.
Shalom. With the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, Mile 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding GEN.YAHANNA. Since 1969, we've been teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians our true identity according to the Bible, which is the 12 tribes of Israel, or the Lord's chosen people, and according to the scriptures, the only nation upon the face of this earth that the Lord gives a damn about.
Yeah, Lord.
And of course, that our oppressor, the same man that invaded these lands hundreds of years ago, back in 1492, and the same ones that enslaved our brothers off the west coast of Africa, and the same ones that forced us into reservations, into the ghettos, into the barrios, is nothing more than the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Yeah, Lord.
Shalakia. And Shalakia for the late start. We had a couple technical difficulties. Understand we should be 12 now. But today is the Tuesday Brotherhood class. So where we teach our nation the importance of having brotherhood amongst one another. Understand, and keeping it within the nation. Understand, not giving it to our oppressor or any other heathen nation out here. So one thing we don't realize is that brotherhood truly makes or breaks a people.
Damn right.
You understand? We've been lacking brotherhood for so long, and really, so many of us don't even realize what brotherhood is. That, first time you hear about it, which really the first time I heard about it was from the UPK. You understand? No matter how long I was walking the streets thinking I had some type of brotherhood with, my homies in the world, thinking I had brotherhood with heathens, you don't learn what true brotherhood is until you come into the I.S.U.P.K.
That damn right.
Like, let me get 1 John 4:20. You can pull it to you. Let me get there with you. Yeah, 1 John 4:20. It's like,
You said John 4:20?
1 John 4:20.
First, and hated his brother.
And what?
And hated his brother.
And hateth his brother. Understand? So for those of us that sit there and claim to love the Most High, claim to love the Creator, whatever it is you want to, call him, and yet you hate your brother, which so many of us out in our communities, we just have such disdain, such hatred for our own. You understand?
Right.
And like, it ain't even gotta be, you going out and selling drugs or committing murders. It can be simply you having some type of jealousy towards your brother. You understand? Because you're jealous towards your brother, you're jealous of what he has. And that's going to cause for you to develop some type of hatred for that man instead of for that sister. And it doesn't even matter if it's a small bit of jealousy or if it's so goddamn large you can't even contain it anymore. It's all going to develop into hatred, and eventually you're going to act on them jealous thoughts that you have. You're going to end up stealing from that brother or sister. You're going to end up, murdering them. You're saying you're going to take something that seems small and you're going to expand it into something that is truly terrible. You understand? Something that is a sin according to the Lord.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. He is a liar, for he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen?
So it's just as simple as that. For those of us that claim to love, the Creator and the ancestors and the different spirits out here, because really it's all connected into one according to our beliefs. You understand? And no matter how much we sit there and claim that the entire nation needs to come back to our roots of loving, the earth and the spirits understand, and respecting the ancestors and all that. But yet, the ones that be saying that are the top ones that have some type of jealousy towards their own, have some type of evil eye towards the people of your nation.
Right, and if I could,
Go ahead.
the Christian church, the Christian church is the main culprit of this scripture right here.
Right.
When I hear this scripture, I think the TD Jakes, I think the Creflo Dollars. Matter of fact, what's that devil name in Houston that shut the doors? You know who I'm talking about. I know who I'm talking about. That one devil, Joe Osteen.
Yeah.
That's his name. Like that devil, right? That goes to show you that the oppressor shouldn't be touching his goddamn Bible.
Right.
You understand? Because he don't understand the law, statutes, and commandments, and he don't give a damn about the law, statutes, and commandments. The only reason he uses the Bible is because it's a way to siphon money out of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities and keep them docile and weak.
Right.
You understand? But how can he claim to love the Lord when he don't even love Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? The second that hurricane hit down in Houston a couple of years ago, what did that devil do? That devil shut the goddamn church doors. Shut the church doors.
Right.
The coronavirus wasn't even spreading bad before the church already had shut the goddamn doors. You understand? When I hear this scripture, I think Christian church. I can't help it. Because they are the main ones to talk about how much they love the Lord, how much they worship the Lord, how, you know, they sing and dance every goddamn Sunday talking about how much they got songs about them.
Right.
The blood of Jesus, you know what I'm saying? And then when it comes to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians and actually showing that love, they don't. It's not reciprocated at all. It's straight hatred. That's all I want to bring out to light.
Sure, that was a heavy point you brought up, because I mean, just like, you know, Christian churches shut their doors on our people that believed in them so much, depended on them to save them from this plague that the Lord had sent. The same thing applies to all these different heathen religions out here.
Right.
Islam, and spirituality. Shoot, the Creator hasn't watched over the Gadites or the reservations in I don't even know how long. Understand? Hundreds of years. And yet these are the so-called, you know, powers that it is that we depend on,
Right.
and expect to save us.
Right.
You understand? And we will follow them without any type of question. But when it comes to the God of Israel, the God of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, shoot, we don't even, shoot, that God, he's made up.
Yeah, who's that?
Yeah. Saying he ain't got no power here.
Right. Damn right.
Go ahead and read verse 21.
Yes. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen?
Verse 21.
And this commandment have we from him, that he who love God, love his brother also.
It's as simple as that. Those of us that claim to love the Most High, the Creator, saying this ultimate being as well.
Right.
And I mean, that pertains to every single tribe. For the niggas in the ghettos who are hating on, you understand, his brother up the street just because he was born on a different block.
Right.
Stand for the Hispanics in the barrios who are hating on their brother just because they come from a different, you know, country, a different part of South America. True, and really the same thing applies for you know, a Hispanic that's born on a different block, and then you hate your brother because of that.
Right.
I mean, shoot, there's an absurd amount of gang violence out here in the streets of, shoot, not only America but South America. Shoot, even up in Canada, a place that's supposed to be one of the most peaceful places on the face of this earth, and yet there are niggas up there just gunning one another down over nothing.
Right.
You understand? Over old beefs that it is that our oppressor instigated. You understand? And that's just like what's going on with so-called Native Indians. How it is that we beef amongst one another, even though we like to have unity here or there, but at the same time, we don't let go of the things that have happened in the past and say, oh well, this tribe sat there and murdered my forefathers, saying, or this tribe sat there and he sold us to the white man. This tribe stole goods and land from us way back in the day. You understand? We're supposed to be forgiving them brothers, and we're supposed to be making sure that we love them with all that we got, because that's the only thing that's going to help bring us up out of this captivity.
Right.
And besides keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, brotherhood is what is going to help our nation to rebuild.
And if I could,
go ahead.
Brotherhood is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That is one of the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord has put on Israel.
Right.
To show brotherhood, not just amongst ourselves, but to the Lord also. You have to show that brotherhood to the Lord. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you're supposed to do unto others as you want done unto you, or you're not.
Sure.
That's part of the brotherhood, right? So if you want somebody to obey you and listen to you, shouldn't you be doing the same thing with the Lord?
Right.
If you want somebody to love you unconditional, shouldn't you be doing the same thing to the Lord? And you do that by following His law, statutes, and commandments, and following these brotherhood laws. And if I could, I want to pull a scripture real quick. This is going to be Isaiah 1 and 3. It goes back to what you were saying, how, you know what I'm saying, like we don't even believe in our God.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like you have touched on such a heavy point that you was talking about how in North America, Canada, it don't matter. Black on black violence is horrible. And here's what you got to understand, because that's the one thing that the white man always hollers the first thing to try to justify him killing your people. But what you got to understand is that violence that you're showing towards that brother is a learned behavior.
Right.
A learned behavior. Like anybody who's ever seen these so-called gangster movies, right? You've ever seen Scarface. You've ever seen Goodfellas. You've ever seen Godfather. You've ever seen any of these movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you see how them drug families all try to come together, but at the same time they stabbing each other in the back and plotting vengeance from the old country.
Right.
That's what they used to talk about. Well, in the old country, your great grandfather killed my nephew. So I said, Dad, I can never forgive. You get what I'm saying? Like he even gave a famous speech how they killed his one son, and he let him know anything ever happened. He said this nigga tripped and twist his ankle. He get a splinter. He's gonna blame them, and it will be war. You get what I'm saying? But Michael Corleone fled. They chased him. They didn't forgive him. They didn't forget about it. They chased him. And this is feuding and killing amongst their own nation.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And we look at that and we mimic that. That's where we learn it from. Because the Lord told us that we're supposed to forgive that brother. You get what I'm saying? We're supposed to forgive that brother. We're supposed to make sure that we don't even let it lead to that. The brotherhood that we show, make sure that we don't lead to wanting to kill each other. That whatever the beef was, we squash it out the way. There's laws from everything. So if I owe you something, to where if we have a dispute about money, we have a dispute about cattle, we have a dispute about anything, there's laws and regulations, laws, statutes, and commandments that we follow to make sure that gets settled so it don't come to bloodshed. You get what I'm saying? But we don't follow the Lord's laws. Instead, we follow heathen customs, which is I'm going to kill him because he killed one of my brothers. I'm going to kill him because I feel disrespected. We don't even kill because it's a blood debt. We kill over offenses, over somebody saying something, over some goddamn Jordans. That's the white man. That's his culture. Go ahead.
It's like I was going to add, that's heavy because like back in the day, it's saying like pre-Columbus, whenever natives would get into wars or battles, it would all be over some type of offense.
Right.
I'm saying when it be over
no bloodshed.
Yeah, it'd just be someone said something, someone looked at somebody the wrong way, next thing you know, two tribes are going at it.
Right. That's a heavy point. You get what I'm saying? We learned that from the oppressor. A clear example of that is well, it ain't really old, but it's almost to be forgotten to time because Black Christians always want to sweep the offenses done to our brothers and sisters up under the goddamn rug. We're not supposed to want vengeance or seek justice for crimes that happened to us. But there was a cat in the 60s named Emmett Till. Everybody knows Emmett Till, right? Mm-hmm. So the offense that he supposedly did was a wolf whistle. He whistled at a white woman. That, right? That's supposedly what he did. Well, to the white man, that was an offense. Now, mind you, that was not bloodshed. Mm-hmm. Nobody got hurt. No, nothing was stolen. He didn't cuss her out, didn't call her a B word, didn't do anything. Supposedly just which instead of it being a compliment, it was an offense. The white man got a mob, went to his house, kicked in his door, snatched him out from up under his family, beat him half to death, then tied bricks to his feet and threw him in a goddamn river to drown to death for an offense. That's where we learn it from.
Right.
Scenarios like that is where we learn it from. My fault, I didn't mean to keep going. Let's get that scripture if you would.
Say 11:6.
No, 1 and 3. Isaiah 1 and 3. You understand? We learn this because we have forgotten the Most High. You get what I'm saying? We have forgotten the days of old and the traditions of old and our own God. We replace our own God for multiple gods.
All right.
Go ahead.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 3.
Go ahead.
The ox knoweth his owner.
Let me tell you something. The ox knows his owner. Go ahead.
And the ass his master's crib.
And listen, the ass, when you get close to the area where he lives at, he knows what to do. Mm-hmm. The same thing with your goddamn dogs and cats. Your dogs and cats, you ever take your dog for a walk and you get about 2 blocks away from home and he changes the whole way he's walking? He's like, I know where I'm at. Mm-hmm. I know where I'm at. Like, I let my dog off the leash a block away from the house and she'll run straight to the gate. You know what I'm saying? Because even the goddamn animals know where home is, know who their master is. Keep going.
But Israel doth not know.
But who?
But Israel doth not know.
Listen, Israel don't know. You don't know that you are the Lord's chosen people. You don't know that you're the precious thing, the most precious thing on this earth, right. on God's green earth. You understand? It is you, Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, and woman. You are the most precious. This brotherhood is the most precious thing that we can absolutely have here in this wicked ass kingdom. Go ahead.
My people doth not consider.
Listen, we don't even consider.
Right.
We don't even consider the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. We don't even consider that brotherhood is a goddamn weapon.
Right.
We don't even consider that. We don't consider coming together and being a nation is the most powerful thing that we can do. And here's the funny part. We look at all these other nations because you ask any Black person with just a tad of common sense, he ain't gotta have the knowledge of the truth. Just let him have 2 eyes and a little bit of common sense, and he'll see. He'll be like, well, the Chinese man comes over here and gets money. The African comes over here and does this. And him being in the world, he even say the Mexicans. The Mexicans come together, but niggas don't have nothing. Well, I wonder why that is. You get what I'm saying? Because at the same time you're saying that, you are following the ways of the goddamn heathen. You're not following the ways of the Most High. You don't even consider the Bible. You're looking for everything else to try to fix your life and fix the world and fix the Black community, but the goddamn Bible. But brotherhood, like we just don't consider it. The Christian church damn sure don't consider it. When's the last time they said anything about brotherhood?
Right. It's like I was going to add, that's a heavy scripture you brought out, because even for the 12 of the 12 tribes that have culture and customs that can be traced back that do match up with the Israelites in the Bible.
Right.
Saying we don't even look at our culture, look at that, and be like, you know what? We might be
them people.
Yeah, we might be
the niggas. Right.
But instead, you stand natives in the reservations sitting there claiming, oh well, they found native DNA over in Philippines or somewhere over in Asia. So I mean, we must be Asian. We must come from that land. You understand? We'd much rather be some disgusting heathen than actually be the Lord's chosen people.
Right. You're absolutely right. And what you're saying is such a heavy point, because they will, like you said, they will somehow explain away the blackness.
Right.
Like you found DNA over in Philippines, you found Indian DNA over there. Maybe it's because it was niggas over there.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Maybe it's because it was niggas over there. Maybe it's because it was niggas all over the goddamn planet.
Right.
Like the scripture said. Instead of somehow, some way trying to link your DNA to a goddamn filthy heathen, like you said. So like, I didn't need to go on that.
It's only scripture.
Yeah, that's it. You can pick back up where you want to. You know where you want to be at.
We're going to go to Matthew 5:22.
Matthew 5:22. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment.
Understand? So that's so many of our people, you know what I'm saying, suffer from this right here. Just being angry with one another, just like with one another for no reason at all.
Right.
You understand? You can, like we brought up before, you can just look at someone the wrong way.
It's a problem.
Yeah. So you got automatic beef. Understand? But by doing that, by having some type of beef with your brother for no reason, that is saying you are in danger of suffering judgment from the Lord.
Right. Damn right. And 9 times out of 10, that judgment is death.
Right.
You understand? That judgment is death. Because like you wishing death upon your brother 9 times out of 10 over something that didn't hurt you or your family.
Right.
That's not causing any kind of harm to you. It's just a simple misunderstanding. A simple misunderstanding, and now you have anger towards that brother.
Right.
Like when I hear this, I think the Christian church. That's the first thing that pops in my head. The Christian church spreads everywhere, even on the reservations.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? They are destroying the Lord's chosen people. Christianity is destroying the Lord's chosen people by not teaching the brotherhood.
I would say Salaki. There's Christian churches deep in the reservations
Right.
too.
Right.
You understand? I say I called you about it when I was driving through.
I remember.
And I was just utterly shocked.
You was like, I can't believe it's a goddamn church way down here.
Yeah.
And it said everything, all these other buildings are shut down and destroyed, but this church is fine.
Right.
Somehow this church has managed to stay up in the midst of everything else crumbling around it.
Right.
This church is here that goes to show you the wickedness of the oppressor. You get what I'm saying? And in that church, you better believe that they're not teaching them Gadites anything that has to do with brotherhood and loving blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They're not loving blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. In that church, they are teaching white supremacy and white supremacy only.
Right.
And white supremacy is the hatred of anything that is blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? White supremacy loves the Chinese man. White supremacy loves the African man. White supremacy loves the Korean man. White supremacy loves the Muslim man.
Right.
White supremacy loves all of these other nations. And the proof of that is these other nations are able to come over here and dominate over blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They won't dominate over the white man, but they will dominate over us.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? They won't. You can go out to Carmel and Geist, and these is the white areas, the white suburbs in Naptown. You can go out to Carmel and Geist and Greenwood and all them places, and you will see strip malls for miles and miles and miles away. But one thing that you will not see, you will see like these heathens sprinkled in here and there, but the heathens are not able to just dominate.
Right.
The same cannot be said in over here. Like in their areas, you see white-owned businesses. You see everything is owned by, you know what I'm saying, white people. Now you see the heathens sprinkled in here and there, but the dominant economic power out there is the white man in their own community. But over here in the black community, who is the dominant economic power? It's not us.
Right.
It's the heathens. along with the white man. You get what I'm saying? They dominate and have economic prowess over here in our communities to where we're not able to set up and do anything. And then, when a black business does open up, we so out of the spirit of not showing brotherhood that we refuse to go spend in there. We go in there and see a gallon of milk for freaking $4, and we like, hell no, I'd rather go to Walmart.
Right.
I'd rather drive 15 miles to Walmart to buy a gallon of milk for $1.50 than to walk right across the street to this black mom and pop shop that just opened up and spend $4 to help them get established. Once they get established and bring in some revenue and start making some money, maybe they can drop the goddamn price of the milk. You ever think of that?
Just like if I could. Saying another reason a lot of us don't want to go to these mom and pop shops, shop with our own people. Like we brought out how a lot of us simply hold grudges and get jealous of the success of someone of our nation.
Right.
Knowing damn well that money's going to come back into our own communities rather than it go into America's society. It's going to come right back into the reservations.
Right
back into the ghettos and the barrios. It's going to help us better our communities.
That's a perfect example of real brotherhood right there. Because when you think about it, these other heathen nations, their money circulate through their community at least 5 times. The heathen money circulates through their community at least 5 times before it leaks out. Our money don't even circle once. Not even the goddamn drug money circles through our community.
Right.
Niggas think that they doing something and getting money because they hustling. That goddamn drug money don't even circle through the community one time. That goes to the drug dealer, then it goes right back to the white man who was providing all the goddamn drugs. It don't even circle. Our money does not circle at all. And it needs to, man. Listen, that is the spirit of brotherhood. To provide for your nation, to provide for your brothers, to provide for your community, that is the spirit of brotherhood.
If you could, read verse 22 from the top.
Yeah, right. Matthews 5:22. But I say unto you, whosoever is angry with his brother without cause shall be in danger of the judgment.
You understand? So that right there pertains to, a lot of different indigenous nations throughout not only Central America, but as well as North and South America, where so many of us hold grudges against another tribe because of something that's happened in the past.
Right.
Knowing damn well that from all the instances that have happened in the past, it all stemmed from our oppressor, the devil, sitting there and manipulating our brothers against us. You understand? And through that, we just utterly decide that, these people, they can't be trusted. We can't deal with them. You understand? If someone's from that tribe, I don't deal with them. I hope nothing but ill will upon them because of what it is that their forefathers have done. And I'm going to completely ignore the fact that they were manipulated and lied to in order to fit the white man's agenda and plans. And saying with us having that type of mentality, we face a judgment from the Lord.
Right. Damn right.
Go ahead.
Damn right. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council.
So basically, if you sit there and you insult your brother, so you're going to be in danger of being taken to council.
Right.
Which, if you're in the I.S.U.P.K, you should know all about council. You understand? And that's something that's so many of our people in the world need to simply learn how to do. So
right.
If you want to take someone to council, it's not a bitch move. You understand? What would be a bitch move, just like in my language, would you going out and taking some action against your brother because you're caught up in your emotions.
Right. Damn right. And that's so heavy what you're saying, if I could.
Go ahead.
Well, you understand it in the world. You get what I'm saying? You go to the white man in the world for counsel. You get what I'm saying? You go, even when you're having problems with your woman, you go to a marriage counselor. You get what I'm saying? When you get in trouble with the white man in the court system, you go to drug counsel, you go to anger counsel, you go to all them other counsels.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But you, all of a sudden, it's a problem when you got to go to counsel. When we teach you about counsel in I.S.U.P.K, and the fact of the matter is this: the counsel is brotherhood.
Right.
Like we gonna pull it in the scriptures later on. But 9 times out of 10, counsel can be avoided if you just follow the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Lord.
Right.
It will be avoided because that brother is to come to you and you alone and say, "Hey, you offended me." And out of the spirit of brotherhood, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you love your brother, the last thing that you want to do is offend your brother. You get what I'm saying? It'll hurt your heart to know that you did something that your brother felt was shiesty. And the first thing that you're going to do is make it right. Is
Right.
it not?
Right.
That's the first thing you're going to do. Whatever I can do to make it right, that's what you're going to do. That is love. That is brotherhood. That is how you build a nation. That is how a nation becomes powerful. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Then that brother looks at that other brother like, I know this nigga love me. You get what I'm saying? You goddamn right. You feel what I'm saying? We're going to do whatever we got to do to keep this nation strong. We're going to do whatever we got to do to keep this brotherhood strong. We're going to do whatever we got to do to make sure that we follow these laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, my fault.
I know. It's like I was going to add, just make it our duty to make sure that if we offend a brother, apologize, and so we let them know that, shoot, I didn't mean to offend you.
It'll never happen again.
Yeah, I want to make sure this brother stays strong.
Right.
But even then, you know, like whenever there would be so-called wars between the Gadites, and there'd be some type of conflict going on, really all it took was for the person that offended this other brother that was causing such strife, all he had to do was apologize, and it squashed the entire beef.
Right.
And that was happening, really with damn near like all the beefs that we had before. It was that the conquistadors and the English and French came upon the shores.
You goddamn right. Salakia, if I could. Like, that's heavy that you brought that out with the native tribes, because they would get together with the elders and sit down and squash the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? The only way war was started happening is once the Spaniards got involved, once the conquistadors got involved, once the manipulation from the goddamn heathen became a factor.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Now, listen, you ain't got to apologize to them. Here, take these rifles.
Right.
Apologize with this bullet. You get what I'm saying? And once more, that is a learned behavior through the nation of Israel, and that's why we are the way we are to this day. I don't blame my brothers for not understanding how to handle that goddamn situation. I blame the oppressor. The reason why we have this goddamn violence in our community, why we're always fighting amongst each other. He is the reason. It ain't that brother's fault. It's the goddamn devil's fault.
Right.
Who is the oppressor? The oppressor. You
Right.
understand? That's what it is. Should do more teachings. Put in a meeting.
No, you good.
I'll finish up the scripture. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire.
Read that for me, Coach. That's like.
But whoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire.
So all that's saying is, you're saying you're gonna be liable to face the Lord's wrath for the actions that you take against your brother.
Right.
Let me get Matthew 18 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord's wrath can come in many different forms depending on what it is that you do. The Lord's wrath could entail him taking away your family, taking away your lands, your power, your wealth.
Right.
The Lord can take away any and all things from you. It don't matter what it is. That's why we got to make sure as a nation that we stick to keeping the Lord's laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right. The Lord will take away one of the most precious things. Every class never fails.
Right.
So lucky. The Lord will take away one of the most precious things that you take for granted, And that's this brotherhood.
Right.
You understand? You might be mad at your brother for the moment, but when push comes to shove and the crap hits the fan, who the hell are you gonna count on? You can't count on your goddamn enemy to have your back. When you got problems with your real enemy, who's gonna be there for you? Your goddamn brother. It's lucky. You want to Matthews 18 and 21. Matthews 18 and 21. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him?
And so this is Peter coming to Christ and asking him, taking counsel from Christ or Yahweh. And she was asking him, how often should my brother offend me or sin against me and I simply forgive him? Go ahead.
Till 7 times?
Should I only forgive a single brother 7 times and call it quits? Go ahead.
And Jesus said, lucky.
Yahweh
said to him, I say not unto thee until 7 times.
So Christ or Yahweh told Peter, nah, I'm not going to say you simply forgive him 7 times. Go ahead.
But unto 70 times 7.
So you forgive your brothers, your sisters, no matter what the offense is, 70 times 7. In other words, damn near an infinite amount of times.
A whole lot. It's not an actual number, Chris.
Right. Because, I mean, no brother is going to offend you. What's 70 times 7? 490
you know what I'm saying?
times.
Right.
You understand? Ain't no brother going to offend you that many times. So you're saying us as a nation, we got to realize, we just got to keep forgiving our brothers.
My fault. So lucky. Go ahead. No, my fault. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, priest.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say what you're saying is such a heavy point. Like, we have to learn how to forgive, and if it makes it easier for you, you goddamn Christian, to forgive your brother, here's how you can do it. Just pretend like he's the white man, because you sure as hell forgive him 77 times 7.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? 70 times 7. You forgive the white man so goddamn much. You get what I'm saying? You forgive him with no goddamn problem at all. In fact, you tell us to forgive him.
Right.
We get out there and we talk about these cops killing unarmed black men while white school shooters get taken alive. How that brother got shot 7 times in the back while a devil can kill 2 unarmed protesters and walk up to the police with the AR. And you tell us to forgive him and somehow forgive him and we'll keep loving him and forgive him some more. Like, he can tell us to do that, right?
Right.
But for some odd reason, we can't forget that nigga. For whatever it is that nigga did, that nigga breathed the same air as me.
Right.
How can I forgive that?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That black man is suffering the same way that every other black man is suffering. If anybody deserves any kind of goddamn mercy, love, and compassion in this filthy world, it should be only blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Right.
These other nations have been loved and forgiven and have mercy and compassion and understanding too goddamn much of it, actually.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Maybe it's time to have a little bit of hate for your goddamn enemy. How about that? Maybe it's time to have some love and compassion for your goddamn brother. How about that? You understand? Like, if you can forgive the white man for his countless crimes against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and even to this day, how he continues to accumulate even more countless crimes against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. If you can forgive him, you goddamn filthy Christian, you can forgive that black man for whatever offense he may have done.
Right.
You have to forgive that black man. The same way that you claim that you have to forgive that devil, right?
Right. You
have to forgive that black man the same way. It's the Christian thing to do. You know what I'm saying? It's because God loves everybody. Right, Christian? So where's our love? Where's our forgiveness? Where's our understanding? Can we get a little bit of that? God damn.
No, that's true. Hey, that was perfect. You brought that out, Armand. Because when you can bring out all the countless crimes that it is that our oppressor has done to our nation.
Right.
And I'm going to use Gad for example. So you can bring up how it was that You know, he would stomp babies' heads in, smash them against rocks, cut open the bellies of pregnant women.
Right, the Trail of Tears.
You understand? You can bring up how it was that they would, you know, cut off the breasts of our women, cut out their uteruses,
right,
and stretch it over their hats as decoration. How they would cut up a man's scrotum and use it as like a tobacco pouch. You can bring up all of that. And every single time, no matter what native it is that you talk to, and Gada you talk to, they always push, you got to forgive them. It's what the ancestors want. The same people.
The same ones that fought to the death against them.
Right.
All of a sudden want you to forgive them.
You're saying the same one that got their scrotums cut off so the tobacco could be packed into it. That's who, you know what I'm saying, they want you to forgive them for that.
Right.
Same ones who were ripped apart by ferocious war dogs, ripped apart by horses,
right,
or gang raped by disgusting Spaniards.
And
they
then,
want you to forgive
when they
them
started
for what they've done.
They was put on the train tracks and tortured that way.
Right.
The trains run over them and stuff. That's where the cowboys get that from in them goddamn movies, because that's how they did the Gedites.
Right.
You understand? And then not only that, but then they turn around and make a goddamn feast day.
Right.
A feast day, talk about Thanksgiving. You get what I'm saying? And like you said, they preach that goddamn forgiveness.
Right.
They preach that forgiveness. Like, how can them words even come out your goddamn mouth and not have that same compassion on your own brothers and sisters?
Right. Yeah. So same breath we sit there and talk about forgiveness. Those same natives, indigenous people, will sit there and talk about, oh well, blacks sat there and hunted native Indians. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the buffalo soldiers.
Right.
Saying how they killed countless men, women, and children, all for the U.S., all for money, all for power. And that's their reason for not sitting there and joining the so-called blacks.
Right.
Because your brothers were manipulated in order to play into what it was that the oppressor needed.
Right. And both sides were manipulated.
Right.
Blacks hunted Gadites and Gadites hunted blacks.
Right.
Gadites were told, you let any of these so-called slaves who escaped on this reservation, and it's going to be a problem. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And what did they do? They started hunting blacks. Blacks was told, if you don't help us fight these goddamn Gadites, it's going to be a problem. And what did the blacks do? We fought against them. Instead of retaining some kind of goddamn honor and choosing death before we hurt our goddamn brothers.
And not only was it blacks against natives, but it was also blacks and natives against Hispanics.
Right.
So oppressors sitting there and spewing out all kinds of lies about our Hispanic brothers, just like they do today. Yes, I'm talking about them being murderers and rapists.
Right.
Talking about how it was that the Mexican army sat there and slaughtered some native tribes along the border, this, that, and the third.
Right.
Knowing damn well it was a bunch of devils that rode out dressed as some Mexicans.
Right.
And sat there to try to cause some type of conflict amongst the 12 tribes of Israel.
Heavy goddamn pointer for good, soldier.
Good.
Like, the white man is such an animal, man. And he tells on himself in all his movies, man. I can't remember the name of the movie, man. But there's a movie where he does that in the goddamn movie. And we know, even when you look at him and read his books on his war tactics and all of that, that's what he does. The white man is such an animal, he will attack his goddamn self.
Mm-hmm.
He will attack his own people and then blame it on the Gadites.
Right.
He will dress up like Indians, attack a little a rich town, slaughter the people, and then look what these goddamn Indians have done to us.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Look what these niggers have done to us. Like, and blame his enemies for it. You get what I'm saying? He will attack his own people and blame them and galvanize the rest of the people to turn against the people that he wants dead. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at the same time, like you said, he's manipulating, trying to make it seem like the body count that the Buffalo Soldiers had against the Gadites, and that the Gadites had against the black slaves, and that the Gadites and Judah had against the Israelites.
Right.
Like, he's trying to tally all these goddamn bodies up to make it seem like it's such a big number. But my thing is this: who has more blood on their goddamn hands than the white man?
Right.
Who has more murders under his? Who has the highest body count? Whose body count is higher than the white man?
Right.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
And so if I could
Go ahead.
say, not only do they sit there and manipulate the numbers, try to make it seem like what it was that we did to each other was so terrible, which it was, Sam, but it was hands, of course, you know, saying, 'cause we've been manipulated, being lied to.
Right.
White man was doing what he did best, but they also ignore how it was that we came together before all that.
Right.
Before we were manipulated. You had slaves running to different native tribes, you know, saying native tribes would go to war with the U.S. Army or any other, you know, like European power that was over here that was trying to retake slaves.
Right. You're absolutely right.
You
You had Judites as chiefs in Native Indian tribes.
Right.
You understand? Like we knew we was fucking brothers. Lucky my language.
And not only that, but you also had, when times got real dire, you had natives and blacks running to South America to the Hispanics in order to further our brotherhood.
Right.
And saying we would fight in the Mexican armies.
That's what I was just about to say.
Trying to keep U.S. forces out.
Right. Damn right, man.
Damn, that's just something that history just chooses to refuse to remember, to
Right.
teach, is that at the end of the day, we always had some type of brotherhood as a nation.
Right. You damn right. We always had that brotherhood, man. That's why the I.S.U.P.K of the Commanded GEN.YAHANNA is so important. Because, like the scriptures say, rehearse the acts of old, you know what I'm saying? The righteous acts. That's why you can see Judah and Gad right here, right now, sitting here in unity. And I'm gonna just tell you like this. I wish a nigga would try to touch my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's gonna be the last thing he ever doing before he leave this earth. You get what I'm saying? And listen, he's not gonna succeed. You get what I'm saying? Because we remember the days of old. We remember how Gad and Judah was together. You get what I'm saying? And let me tell you something. No devil could ever come in this house right here and ever turn me against my goddamn brother. Ever, man. Ever. We follow the law, statutes, and commandments, and this brotherhood is a goddamn weapon, man.
Right.
And we gonna wield it like one. This brotherhood gonna destroy all of our enemies. Point blank, period. No enemy can stand before us with this brotherhood.
Right.
Ain't no way, ain't no how. It's impossible. Trying to stand before this brotherhood is like trying to stand before a tsunami.
Right.
You're gonna get wiped out.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yes, and just to add to the brotherhood that we had back in the day as a nation, no matter what it was that we called ourselves or were labeled as.
Right.
That, you know, so those in the world can say, oh, that was just one instance, it was a fluke, this and that. But we had such strong ties as brothers, you're saying, for a people that were supposedly new to the shores, and a people that, you know, dwelled in these lands and, you know, viewed blacks as just an attachment of Europeans, you understand? But yeah, we had such strong ties of brotherhood as a nation that Europeans literally wrote home, sent a letter across the sea that would take 365 days in order to reach their governments, and they would beg for them to send armies over in order to split up what it was that we had going on.
Right.
Same with the runaway slaves joining to the depleted native tribes, and us coming together and dwelling together, just to being brothers. You understand?
Right.
And that just it struck such fear into these heathens that they had no choice. They had to take drastic measures.
Right.
So drastic that it would take 2 years, really more, because they still have to troops and send them over.
Right.
You know, so that just goes to show you the fear that our oppressor has for the 12 tribes coming together.
Right. For the fear of brotherhood, for the fear of the Most High's bloodline, his chosen people coming together the way he told them to.
Right.
In the spirit of brotherhood. You understand? And another weapon to try to destroy this brotherhood that they instituted and still continue to this day is that goddamn Christianity. You understand? Right. Don't it seem kind of weird how the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians were all forced to be Christians,
right?
But somehow the Japanese man was able to keep his own religion.
Right.
Somehow the Chinese man was able to keep his own religion. Somehow the Muslims was able to keep their own religion.
Right.
Somehow the Africans were able to keep their own religion. So, go ahead.
Well, so like I was going to say, and this is after all this you know, racism and prejudice what they supposedly faced in these different times. The Japanese faced there in World War II. Right. And you got the Arabs.
They got a whole goddamn nuclear bomb dropped on them, and still was able to keep their own religion. Like, you think they would have became super Christians after that.
I said, shoot, look at the Middle East, completely bombed to hell.
Right.
They still kept.
Damn right.
Africans had,
you know, the doo-doo god, whatever it is.
And they were still able to keep it even after all the hands that got chopped off and, and heads and feet.
Right. But somehow, them blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, they all became good Christians.
Right.
Under white Jesus. That's one of them things to make you go, right? You get what I'm saying? Like, don't you wonder why? And then when you and if you broke it down to a simplistic, this most simplistic value of it all, how is it that we are still the targeted people? When you really think about it, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the targets of all this racial bias. You get what I'm saying? Like, everybody else is able to sustain and do their thing and thrive and flourish. But somehow, like you said, here you are in the middle of the goddamn desert. You Area 51, and you get what I'm saying?
Right.
Right next to Area 51 is a goddamn Christian church. How is that? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
In the middle of the goddamn reservations. Nothing but desert everywhere. Ain't even a goddamn water well, but there's a Christian church. Flourishing.
I was about to say, and not only that, is there desert everywhere, but you'll see a couple houses sprinkled in between that are just completely run down.
Right.
They look like they've been bombed out by some U.S. Aircraft.
Right. But that church is strong. You get what I'm saying?
Oh,
that church is strong.
Like, that was the best buildings in the res.
Right.
It was better than Bash's, which is like their supermarket, but it's owned by East Indians.
Right.
They're saying that they look better than that.
Right. Kind of reminds me of another place that be at all the time. Oh yeah, that's right, the ghetto.
Right.
Where every goddamn corner there's another Christian church looking glorious.
Right.
Man, reminds me of another place, man. Oh, the burials where our Hispanic brothers is at.
Right.
Somehow, no matter where them MS-13s are and them Latin Kings, there's a Christian church on every one of them corners in LA.
John.
You get what I'm saying? Somehow, them Christian churches is everywhere where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are.
Right.
But they're not in them. They're not in them heathen neighborhoods. They're not where the Africans live at and congregate at and do all that. There's not no churches. If there is a church, you better believe that they don't worship the same God as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They're not worshiping white Jesus.
Right.
They in there, they speaking their own language. They know doing their Wakanda forever thing, like they doing it. You get what I'm saying? They have their own goddamn religion. They worship their own goddamn gods, man.
Say if I could.
Go ahead.
Say even for the heathens that are on the reservations, not just Edomites, our oppressor white people,
right?
But also, saying the Arabs that are out there, the Arabs that own the jewelry shops, saying that are making bank off of all the hard work you put in to make these different, unique indigenous crafts. You understand? They still keep their religion, even though they've been dwelling amongst you for years. You understand? They sit there and they got kids with Native women, saying kids fuck sluggy. You saying that I've seen, like 10 and up. You understand? Even after all that, they still keep their, Islam.
Right. They take on their father's customs.
Right. You understand? The Africans that are out there that run the gas stations, they still keep their gods. They don't conform to our way, even though they're surrounded by nothing but Gadites.
Right. They're not dressing like Gad. They're not acting like Gad.
Right.
They're not trying to speak like Gad. You know what I'm saying? They're not eating your food. They're not doing none of that. Celebrating your high holy days or holidays or whatever it is. You get what I'm saying? They don't do none of that, man. They keep their own. And they damn sure show brotherhood to their own.
Right.
The proof of these other nations showing brotherhood is how they thriving here in America. That's why Chinatown is still Chinatown. It's not ran down. You ever go to a Chinese restaurant? When I was in the world, I used to go to a Chinese restaurant, and it was filled with nothing but Chinese people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They would go there on their lunch breaks. They would drive goddamn 15 miles to go shop and spend money with their own people.
Right.
Like they literally would. They would do all of that, man. They made it a point to spend with their own and show brotherhood to their own. Everybody's mad about how this white devil was able to kill 2 people and then go up to the police with his AR after having blood on his hands, and then go home that same night and eat good and sleep good in the same bed. They wonder how that happened, because the white man loves his own.
Right.
He loves his own. That's why you've never seen a white school shooter get murdered by the cops. He's always taken alive. He could get, listen, somehow they know how to talk him out of shooting them when he has the AR pointed at him.
Right.
Put the gun down, little Timmy. Don't kill us. Listen, we understand. She should have gave you her number. We understand, right? They understand, right?
Right.
But that black man, they don't know how to take him alive at all. You know what I'm saying? They see that black man as like he's an animal. Go ahead, Money Man.
That's crazy, because like how it is they can take an armed shooter, someone that has killed like a dozen plus people,
Right,
take them alive, but yet at the same time, whenever it is our peoples do like peaceful protests,
right,
and
now they get murdered.
And we come together because we want to better our nation. So you can take protests out on the reservations. Standing Rock, what happened a couple years ago,
Right.
what was happening up in Canada, to protest that pipeline.
It's like if I could.
And you're saying you got our people out there that are being attacked by dogs and shot by rubber bullets.
Murdered.
Right.
Murdered out there.
You're saying which, if you're hit with a rubber bullet at a close enough distance, it can cause serious damage.
So that thing gonna put a bruise on you that big.
Yeah, not only that, it can rupture internal intestines, it can cause brain damage, you can lose eyes.
I seen a chick get her eye put out with one.
You understand? And they was lighting us up, I know, up in Standing Rock with them rubber bullets.
Right.
Having us stand in freezing cold waters as they were standing on the warmer shores, just with riot shields keeping us from coming up so we can get warm.
Right.
They're sending all these different type of things to us, and that just shows us the type of hatred it is that they have towards us.
And if I could,
go ahead.
And all this is because they don't want a pipeline ran through their land, which was already their land, but was stolen and given back to them,
right,
and told that nobody was able to come and take that land from them ever again.
Right.
That's why all that was done. And it was something else that you touched on that I wanted to say. Like, you know, we see a lot of Judah dying in the news, but that's just because Judah is, you know, one of the biggest, the dominant nation. You know what I'm saying? One of the dominant tribes, rather. You know what I'm saying, in the nation of Israel. But what we don't see is how many of our Hispanic brothers died and how many of our Native Indian brothers died, man. Like the Native Indians, like it's so goddamn wicked with them. Like every time one of them dies, it's just like sweeping them up under the rug.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I wanted to bring up earlier. Like when you was talking about, you know, what's going on the reservations. You know how many of them died? Like, man, they swept that shit straight up under the rug. Like they was out there killing them. They wasn't just shooting rubber bullets, they was putting them to death. You get what I'm saying? Like I heard stories about how natives was coming up missing. Like missing. And to the point where they can't even find a goddamn trace of them. You get what I'm saying? No bones, no nothing. And you get what I'm saying? Like these niggas just decide to leave. Right. Where the hell they gonna go?
Right.
Where they gonna go? You know what I'm saying? Where the hell they gonna go, Monterey?
Right.
That's what I want to know. Where they go? Salaki. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna add, you know what I'm saying, not only were they coming up missing, getting shot with projectiles and having war dogs sicked on them, you understand, but we'd also being frozen out, starved out.
Right.
You understand, had supplies burned up by police.
Right.
You understand, it's a sight that truly only like can remind you of war times.
Right. That's what it was. That was the act of freaking war.
Yeah, that's the type of tactics it was that they would use back on our ancestors. You understand, back in the day, in order to try to get us to submit to them, try to break our spirits.
Right.
You understand, we got to realize as a nation, the white man, he always keeps his tactics, you understand, written down in a book so he can break them out later when he needs to use them against us as a nation.
Right. And another thing is this. You know how all these other nations have also been conquered at some point in time, but they was able to keep written history of what went on with them, and their libraries weren't totally wiped out. Why is it that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians libraries were totally wiped out?
Right.
Like totally wiped out. You know how much effort has to go into to totally wiping somebody's history out?
Right.
And then taking the time to rewrite it.
Right.
Why is it that only Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians' history was rewritten, but everybody else's history was, left alone?
Right.
But ours was rewritten. Like, nobody never stops to ask these questions, except for the priests and prophets and I.S.U.P.K. under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. Go ahead.
I was like you understand? You would have to go to beyond a greater extent of what it was. Goddamn, Hitler did.
Right.
You understand how he sat there and burned books and all these records across Germany,
right,
to all across the country. You understand? Because that was one of the first things that the conquistadors had done once they invaded, was they gathered up all the books and different objects that have been inscribed or written on, and they destroyed
all the history. Right. And with all that being said and done, for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to try to segregate themselves apart from one another, how can we do that when all our history lines up with each other? You get what I'm saying? How can we try to separate ourselves from each other when all of our history lines up with each other?
Right.
Like, that just don't make any goddamn sense at all. You get what I'm saying? That goes to show you that we are all the same people. That Black is Hispanic, and Hispanic is Native Indian, and Native Indian is Black and Hispanic. Like, we are all the same goddamn people. We are. There's no denying it. There's no refuting it. Our history is all the same. The pain and suffering that we went through is all the same, man. That's why it's important for every Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian to come into the I.S.U.P.K. under Commander GEN.YAHANNA.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Salakia, I'm not trying to call no other nation out or nothing like that, no other tribe out, but especially our Native Indian brothers, man. You get what I'm saying? Our Native Indian brothers need to realize that we are all the same people. I understand, you know what I'm saying, like they want to, try to preserve what they do have, but they got to understand that like to preserve it means to come back to your brothers in the I.S.U.P.K, like the Blacks and Hispanics. Go ahead.
Well, it's like you say, not just Gad, but really it's all 12 tribes.
Right.
I talk to Jakes and my slave every day, and they make it their mission to say how it is that Blacks don't mess with Hispanics or natives, how natives don't mess with them, and Hispanics, Blacks and natives. They say just basically making any excuse possible not to join to their brothers.
Right.
They say we got to realize as a people that we're all one, and that the only way for us to come up out of this condition that we're in as a whole is to join together.
Right.
You understand?
So goddamn right.
We just gotta stop being so goddamn selfish as a nation.
Like the Lord says, stiff neck.
Right. You understand? You gotta learn that you can't always have that white woman by your side. You understand?
Don't hurt their feelings like that, buddy.
You gotta realize it's like. You gotta realize that white man, he's not always gonna be your best friend or your lover.
Listen, let a race war break out tomorrow.
Right.
Who is that? With like all of Israel with these heathen lovers? Who do you think that heathen lover is gonna choose?
Right.
Because they're like, I'm fighting with you. I'm fighting for the Negro side.
We're so brainwashed, we believe it. So we'd actually say, "Oh no, they're sticking with me. That's been my family for 5+ years. They're not gonna leave me." I just goes to show how much of a slave we are as a nation.
Right, damn right. And at the end of the day, what really happens though in them kind of situations is that the Israelite ends up conforming to the other side, to the heathen side, and trades on their own people to please the heathen. It's been proven time and time again, all through goddamn slavery. You know what I'm saying? All through modern time up until now. Even now, like Facebook is such, like Facebook is, you really got to know how to deal with Facebook, because everybody with a goddamn Facebook page is now able to put out videos and say whatever and stuff. And I just come across so many wicked people that's, like especially Judah. Like, I remember I showed you the one cat. Like, I cannot stand that cat.
Okay.
Like, I really, listen, man. I know I'm supposed to have brotherhood, but do you not hear the stuff that brother be saying? Like, that nigga hates us, man. He hates black people. and he will do whatever it is to be loved by the oppressor, and to have he looks at the oppressor as his brother. He don't look at me and you as a brother. Like we are his enemy because we are black and we don't agree with the white man.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? He looks at the white man. That's a Christian for you. Because the Christian looks at the white man as his brother, but he don't look at another person in the same condition as him as his brother.
Right.
Like, and that's a dangerous thing, man. That is a very dangerous thing, man. You get what I'm saying? When you don't look at the same person that's suffering like you as you. Like here we are, we both suffering the same thing, me and you. But I don't look at you as me. Instead, somehow I'll find a way to relate to that rich white man.
Right.
Like, how the hell can you even pull that off? That has to be nothing but self-hatred, man. And let me tell you something, man. The Lord is not with you in that spirit right there, man. Like that right there is a quick way to death. That is a quick way to death, like we just brought out in the scriptures.
Right.
The hatred for your brother, that is a quick way to death. You didn't already judge me, you done ruled against me, and you didn't even hear me plead my case. You don't even know why I'm in the situation I'm in, but even though you're living the same life that I'm living. You get what I'm saying? They take one or two token niggas and put them up front like that is what black life is all about.
Right.
In order for a black man to be successful, let me rephrase that, in order for a black man to be glorified, he has to be a football player, a basketball player, a rapper, some type of UFC fighter, something like that, a boxer. He has to be cooning and buffooning for the white man's entertainment in order for him to be glorified. If he's a lawyer, a doctor, or something of that nature, he doesn't get any shine. And even if he is getting some shine, it's because that he's totally forsaken the brotherhood that he's supposed to show when it comes to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. He's totally forsaken that brotherhood, and he's adopted the ways of the heathen. Salaki to keep everyone knowing Salaki mighty man.
112. If you could read verse 22 from the top. I'm going to touch on one little thing, one personal thing I went through today.
Yeah, man. I'm about to get in there. Salaki.
Yes, I got it right here.
I got it. Matthews 18 and 22.
Okay.
Matthews 18 and 22. And Yahushua saith unto him, I say not unto thee unto 7 times, but unto 70 times 7.
Understand? So we already went over how was you supposed to forgive your brother a countless amount of times.
Damn right, every time.
Yes, and it don't matter what it is that he does, you're supposed to forgive that man and not sit there and harbor some type of hatred towards him, or else, I mean, it's going to bring the wrath of the Lord down upon your head.
Damn right.
So we went over how it is that, you know, us as a nation, even though, of course, the white man is not our brother, how us as a nation still find a way to forgive him and make excuses for his sins.
You make him our brother.
Right. You understand? But today, you know what I'm saying, I even had a devil that sits there and makes excuses for all the crimes it is that his people have committed. Yes, and this beast has a traitor for her wife. You understand?
Right.
And at the same time, in the same breath of him making these excuses, he sits there and he says to me, you understand, I don't, like, after looking into everything that it is that my people have done to yours, I don't see how it is that black people have not gone out and just started killing white people for what it is that they've done.
Right.
Yes, and that just goes to show you that we should not be simply forgiving them for all of their crimes as a nation.
So if I could.
Go ahead.
What you're saying is that even the white man knows that he's a goddamn animalistic,
Right.
murderous, and rapist, and that if the shoes were turned, he would never forgive us.
Right. I'm saying, and if I could, not only that, but that just goes to show you that they know that we shouldn't just simply be forgiving them for what it is that they've done.
Right.
And saying we should have some type of hatred towards them. Not saying you go out and commit an act and killing some white person just because they're white.
Right.
But you should learn to simply separate from these people.
Right.
To give all that love that you gave these beasts, give all of that to your own. Give that to the black, Hispanic, or Native Indian that is suffering beside you.
Damn right. Goddamn right.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that's all That's all it needs. That's the only ones that need it is the people of your nation.
Right. And if I could, when you said that, it reminded me of Django. Now everybody's been seeing this goddamn Measure Candy meme going out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the DiCaprio. Hey, Zavagi, that shit is funny. Right. But everybody been seeing that meme go out. But remember when he was at the table and he was talking about how the slave used to take the razor and cut his daddy's beard, and he was like, and after everything that they had done, he was like, and had that had been me, I would have slit his throat. I would have given a damn what happened to me. I would have killed him for what happened to mine.
From ear to ear.
From ear to ear, right? That goes to show you how the white man truly thinks. He didn't want me to tell you why Leonardo DiCaprio played that role so good. It's because that's really how he feels.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's really in his spirit. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't hard for him. To call a black man a nigga, that wasn't hard for him. To play a corrupt, cruel plantation white devil, want to make sure every nigga suffer. I paid $500 for you. I expect 5 fights. You may not can win all 5, but you can fight all 5.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that is really their spirit. And even that devil in that movie said, look, there's no way that I would have just been a slave. I would have killed somebody. Don't put no blade in my hand to shave your beard. I'm going to cut your neck from ear to ear. Listen, they know they have been the most wicked and foul beasts off on planet Earth. Go ahead.
Outside of, like, disrespect to their persons. Like, when the German dude sat there and shot Leonardo DiCaprio, all because he was going to make him shake his hand over a deal.
He said, Texas, a deal ain't a deal until you shake my hand. Right. All that paperwork don't mean nothing. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you're going to shake my hand. You're going to show me what I deem as respect. And if you don't, he said, look, I'll get damn about the money. They try to walk off this house, gun them down.
Right.
Listen, they don't take disrespect from each other. How do you think we became America? We went to war with Britain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Slovakia. I said I met the devil.
Right.
They went to war with Britain. Let me fix that.
It's like.
Go ahead.
It's like. And really, whenever that devil said that, he ain't really mean, gun down the white German.
No.
He meant gun down the niggas that was trying to leave of their own free will.
Right.
Even though they were technically free men.
He cast out.
And we gotta recognize as a nation. We gotta recognize as a nation. For instance, the movie Django. All the things that them slaves were put through. How was they had the 2 brothers fighting to the death?
Right.
You understand? Scratches all over their arms, necks, and backs.
Right.
And eyes being gouged out, teeth marks in each other's
flesh. By war dogs.
You know what I'm saying? Not only that, the sister that was shoved into a hot box and tortured, Django, who was going to have his rod cut off, which in real life they would follow through with it. We got to remember that happened to all 12 tribes.
Right.
And that happened to thousands upon thousands of us.
Right.
We got to remember these things as people. Because, if we forget it, we're bound to repeat the past.
Damn right. Damn right. That's such a heavy goddamn point. That's why, you know what I'm saying? A lot of listen, that's why the UPK do what we do. That's why every goddamn weekend you see us on these streets and you see us blazing the way that we do, because we have to constantly remind our brothers and sisters of our history and of who our true enemy is, because the second we don't, we become docile and we start to think that these people love us. We truly do have Stockholm Syndrome. These white people do one goddamn thing nice for us and we think that they love us.
Right.
Somehow, you know what I'm saying, the white man give us a goddamn holiday of his own choosing, and that's love to us.
Right.
The white man owns everything in this goddamn country. You ever been on the interstate? This is for people that's watching, people in the world. You ever been on the interstate just riding and you see all this open land? Go ahead.
I was like, I just wanted to add off that they make a holiday for us when we think we're loved.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Natives or Gadites were going wild when it was that our oppressor gave us a month. A month to celebrate the indigenous people.
But a goddamn holiday.
Right. You're saying, and shoot, we went crazy for the single day that they gave us as well.
Right.
Understand? Even though the same major problems that were plaguing us didn't stop at all for that day or that month. Sisters were still coming up missing at alarming rates.
Right.
Drugs were still being pushed. Our
Right.
people were still being made alcoholics, still being incarcerated, still being murdered.
Right.
Saying all these different type of things. And shoot, hey, white man, he gave us a holiday though.
Yeah, I know, right?
He said we got a month.
Let's celebrate it. Let's
Right.
go hard.
Yes,
This is such a heavy point. Go
I
ahead.
say Salagi. You understand? Homosexuals got a month before we did.
Let's say a nation
Right.
before we were.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And we're a sovereign nation.
Right.
And yet, the nation of homosexuals got more rights, got more laws set in place to better them than they do the indigenous people of this land.
You can do anything that you want to a goddamn indigenous person of this land, to any one of the 12 tribes. You can do whatever you want to them, and nothing will happen to them. But the second that you call a homosexual the F word, we can't even say the F word no more. You know what I mean when I say the F word.
Yeah.
We can't say the F word. If I was to say it on national TV, they would beep it. I'd be like, beep, beep.
Like they cut the whole feed.
Goddamn beep. That's how it would be. But I'd be like, you goddamn nigga, that would just play out regular.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You ever watch a movie on USA or something that's like supposed to be like a hood movie, like Baby Boy or Boys in the Hood or whatever? They will beep every goddamn word except for nigga. Nigga just plays regular. They be like, beep you, nigga. Who you think you talking to, Jack? Nigga, you better kiss my beep. Like, wait, what?
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, they beat the cuss words, but nigga plays out. You get what I'm saying? They want you to know what you are and what it means. That the derogatory statement that was used to disrespect a black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. You get what I'm saying? And really, they say nigga because they was too ignorant to say nagger. Nagger. You get what I'm saying? They didn't know how to pronounce it. And some hillbilly was like, yeah, he's a naga. Nigger? Yeah, that sounds about right. You get what I'm saying? But they really tried to call us nagger, which is Latin for black.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So let me tell you something, black man. I see a lot of Egyptologists talk about, I don't use the word nigger. Let me tell you something. Here in I.S.U.P.K, that word is not offensive to us.
Right.
Go to Acts, what is it, 1-13? 13-1?
13.
Acts 13-1?
You make what?
Yeah, if you would. Let me show you something in the Bible, man. Let me show you something and why you shouldn't be ashamed of the word nigga. You get what I'm saying? This is why you shouldn't be ashamed of it, man. Because this word was already in the Bible. You get what I'm saying? The Lord was like, them my niggas. That's a lot. But you get what I'm saying? Like, there's no shame in this word, man. You got it?
Go.
Let's get it.
Book of Acts, chapter 13 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
Now there were in the church that was at Antioch.
Listen, Antioch was like one of the big schools, like equated to the white man schools nowadays, like Harvard and Yale and all that crap. Purdue, you know what I'm saying? Notre Dame, all them big schools. Like this is, you know what I'm saying, that same kind of thing. The church was a big deal in Antioch. Go ahead.
Certain prophets and teachers.
Certain prophets and teachers. You talk about I.S.U.P.K niggas right here. You get what I'm saying? Keep going.
As Barnabas and Simeon.
They give you two names, Barnabas and Simeon. Keep going.
I was like, I say if I could.
Go ahead.
You understand? And these two names, those were the only teachers that were there. You understand? You understand? Us growing up in a modern time, for those of our people that are Christians, we like to think, oh, there's teachers all over the place. You understand? There were teachers all over the lands, this and that. You understand? When the Lord only had a select few of priests and prophets to raise up the nation.
Right, and we about to find out what the priests and prophets look like too. Keep going.
That was called Niger.
That was called who?
That was called Niger.
Read that word for me. Spell that word for me.
Niger.
Listen, anybody with listen, if you got a goddamn third grade education, you know that the word Niger is a derivative of the word nigger. You get what I'm saying? You know that. You know Niger means nigga. You know Niger is Latin for black.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And it says that the teachers there, as Barnabas and Simeon, were called Niger. Niger means black. You get what I'm saying? Point blank, period. So don't ever be in the nigga, man, because that's what they called the priests and prophets, the teachers that was teaching. Go ahead.
So I was gonna add, how is it they try to use, nigga as an insult to our people? You notice that there's only certain, so-called groups that they actually use insults for, like, openly.
Right.
Like, and that is blacks, Hispanics, natives.
Damn right.
They say
Goddamn right. Heavy
niggas,
point. Why you kill them like that?
The savages.
Why you kill them like that?
You're saying you can go out and call an Asian a derogatory term and it'd be okay. You're going to be charged with, hate crime.
Yeah, hate crime.
You can't go out and call a Jewish man. You really can't. You can't say he's not a real Jew. That alone is going to charge you with hate speech.
Yeah, Ashley Kenny.
Right. You can't call our oppressor, you're saying a cracker. You're going to be charged with hate speech. You can't call all these different heathen nations some type of offensive term without being charged. But yet, you can come to the Lord's chosen people and call them any and everything in the book, and you can get away with it. It's going to be funny to everybody.
Right, and like the scriptures say, you will be a byword.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That's just another byword. But at the end of the day, like I said, you don't need to be ashamed about that, man, because the teachers of everyone were niggas.
Right.
Point blank period.
Right.
And this goes out to them so-called Moors, right? Because the Moors, for some odd reason, the Moors like to think that they're a nation.
Right.
And I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, where is the nation of Moor at? Show me that on the map. Show me the nation of Moor, where the Moors descend from. Moor was just more niggas. That's all it was. That's what Moor meant. More niggas. And that word came out to distinguish the difference between the people who had became the teachers and the people who were the slaves. That's all it was. It was just to distinguish the difference, because I didn't want you to know that, like, I'm calling, you know what I'm saying, for example, of course, I'm calling Matara a nigger, right? This is a nigger right here. But that's because I done took him and made him a slave. Even though he was once a teacher, once a chief leader, once an elder, once a warrior, I've somehow managed to conquer him, and I'm calling him a nigger now. But I'm going to take the weaker vessel, I'm going to take the one who's not liable to fight against me, and I'm going to call him something else, because I don't want y'all to relate to being the same people.
Right.
Who's going to be content with their brothers and sisters being in fucking slavery? Selecting my language.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna piggyback, but you pretty much already went over it. How it was they would take the darker of the natives and label them as African Americans, and they would call them niggas, and then you got the lighter ones they call savages, and they would use that the
colorism.
Yeah, the colorism. They'd use that to divide us and keep us apart from being a nation.
And that's such a heavy point, because it didn't matter if you was a field nigga or a house nigga.
Right.
Guess what? You still a goddamn slave, stupid.
Right.
It'd be the house niggas that was trying to escape. You get what I'm saying? It'd be the sisters in the house that was trying to escape. It was always that one big mama that wanted everybody to be cool. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say Django's rib.
Right.
Tried to escape on her own.
Right. They had her in the house. And that's the point I want to make right there. I'm glad you brought that up. Use her an example. Why did she want to escape? Because they was in there raping her. And she didn't like that. You get what I'm saying? Now, there was some, you know what I'm saying, that was with it. Them was probably the ones that's reincarnated and went devils now. You get what I'm saying? But the other sisters, they was killing themselves, trying to do whatever to get away. Go ahead, Money. No, go ahead. Bring it up.
It's like I was going to add, saying for the Gadites to sit there and say, well, they didn't have our people as house slaves. You understand? But at the same time, what they did have us as, they had us as, the nuns in the ministries. You understand? They would sit there and kidnap sisters and brainwash them with Christianity and have them as the nuns and sell them off as wives to some rich white devil, or really even poor devil, saying the highest bidder. So that the same thing that was happening to them, the black sisters in the tribe of Judah, it's the same thing that was happening to Gad, the Issachar, Simeon, Manasseh, and the rest of the 12 tribes.
And if I could, for the Gadites to say that, you just a goddamn idiot. Like, I remember hearing stories, man, as well as, came across a couple of books as well. Like when my grandfather on my mother's side, I remember, you know, used to kick it with him and watch old ass movies. He used to watch the old black and white movies, man. And they'd be slave movies, and they would have Gadites as trackers. You get what I'm saying? So when a slave run away, they will pull out the Gadite trackers. You get what I'm saying? The Gadites were good trackers. Why? Because they was already warriors in the woods, so they knew how to track the footprints. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's like I was gonna add from movie Django again. I don't mean to advertise, you know, the movie,
Right.
but you know, when they had the brother, that slave that was ripped apart by dogs,
Right.
and you know, they had, I don't know if that was supposed to be a Gadite or a devil, but was dressed up in traditional.
He was supposed to be a Gadite.
Israelite attire, you understand?
Right.
Gadite attire with the fringes everywhere, the deer skin.
Right, and that's another point. So-called white mans to be like, I'm 164th, 182 Cherokee and shit, and like, where do you think they got it from? They got it from being around the Gadites and learning how to track and all of that. That's what, like they started hanging around the Gadites and they took on all the qualities of the Gadites, for us the hunting, the tracking, the killing. Like, how many times have you seen like them documentaries when a white man goes out into the Gadite, you know what I'm saying, to the area and take on their customs and stuff, right. And the Gadites just being who they are, except a man in the spirit of brotherhood, because they lost touches with, you know, the Most High. Go ahead.
So I was gonna add, we went over that a couple classes ago. How was it? There were Europeans cut off from their brethren, and they joined to natives. They were incorporated.
Their brothers came around
into their society. They learned the culture, the customs. They got acquainted with the people. They made families and all that. And their brothers came around. They turned on them. You know, saying we got to realize as a people that the top ones to sit there and turn on us, to, you know, play into the hands of our oppressor, it's going to be those that are the children that we so willingly welcome in as being native, even though historically, spiritually, scientifically, I mean, shoot,
right?
It shows that these people aren't of our nation.
Damn right. That's a heavy point, man. And like them slave trackers, even back then, they learned how to track slaves from the Gadites.
Right.
They learned trails from the Gadites. You get what I'm saying? They could go into the woods and be like, they can look at the bushes and see which ones were disturbed, look for cracked twigs and all of that, and you know what I'm saying? See the footprints in the mud that nobody else can see. They learned all that from the Gadites, man. They used to, you know what I'm saying? That's where they learned it from. The Gadites were used as Negro hunters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Back and forth. Like Negroes and Gadites, the white man uses Christianity as a tool to destroy our brotherhood, man. That's why, like I said, there's not one organization on planet Earth more important than I.S.U.P.K under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. This is the only organization that teaches true brotherhood, that teaches you how to love your brother, man. How to show true brotherhood, man. You know what I'm saying? I know it's getting late in the class. We about to end it, man. You know what I'm saying? So lucky I always, you know, run off.
You're good.
Talking crazy all the time in the classes. So lucky. And at the end of the day, man, like the I.S.U.P.K teaches Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to come together in the spirit of brotherhood, man.
All right.
You get what I'm saying? I thank the Most High in Christ for the I.S.U.P.K, man, under Commander GEN.YAHANNA, man. Because now, you know what I'm saying, I know what it is to truly be a brother. Now I know what it is to come together in brotherhood. I know who my brothers are, man.
And that is how every brother in the school should be feeling. You understand? Because I mean, shoot, me being, you know, light skinned but still a dark nigga. You understand? Not knowing. Knowing truly who it is that my brothers are. You understand? And finding this truth, and just being welcomed with open arms once you know. Prove who it is that your father is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we can't just let anyone anyone into this truth, you're saying, into the nation of Israel, that's how the
Right.
Lord intends it.
Right.
You're saying, but once you prove all things as the scriptures say, you're saying, welcome into this army. I mean, you should have that sense, that spirit of there is no turning back. This is where it is that I should be.
Damn right. If your blood is Israel, if your blood is Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian according to your father,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? This is home. This is for the outcast. I.S.U.P.K. started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves in the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she will get permission to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which a brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Ties, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3 and 8 through 10 means 10th in the Hebrew. Ma'ashara, 10% of every penny increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering, not mandatory, whatever so amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. The Feast of First Fruits will be on the 17th of this month. Every brother and sister is together with the brothers and sisters in a city. You understand? And celebrate the Lord's High Holy Day. So start preparing now. It's the 17th of this month. It's going to be a glorious day. It's going to be done only the way I.S.U.P.K can do it. All right. Reminder for Akim and Akwaf to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone is
Just skip to if you want to be.
If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, bands, headbands, scarf. With that being said, Imagine Wapanya Hakyadum, which means to turn and face the. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abano. Shabbat Shemayim. With us. I.S.U.P.K.
Shimka.
Yahweh.
Malakuka.
Taba.
Ratazaika.
I.S.U.P.K.
Ba'arataza. Kawa. Bashamay. Nathan. Kawawathano.
Kasalakino.
Kasalakano.
Kabawathino.
Walaha.
Tabaino.
Mayan.
Right.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Amalak.
Walahala. Watapara.
Awalayu.
Aman.
The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father.
Our Father,
Short in heaven.
which art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name. Yahweh.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Will be done.
Thy will be done
In earth.
in earth
As it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this
Our
day
daily bread.
our daily bread,
Forgive us our debt.
and forgive us of our debts
As we forgive our debt.
as we forgive our debtors.
Lead us not into temptation.
And lead us not into temptation,
But deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom,
And the power.
and the power,
And the glory.
and the glory
Forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it.
Power. Perfect power. Blessings. The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Why Yahweh Shah.
Wa Yahushai.
Why Makala.
Wa Mnyakahala.
Why Ayim.
Wa Ayim.
Matazabiyah.
Matazab Yah.
Alawap Yahana.
Alawap Yahana.
Alawap.
Ha'alawapia.
Azazarayim.
Hazaranyam.
Akwatazayayim.
Hakwatazayanyam.
Hakatazayayim.
Hakayayam.
Akwatazayayim.
Wa Akwatiyam.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bashim.
Bashim.
Shah.
Yahushai.
The water Amon.
The water of man.
The blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahushua.
And Yahushua.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angel.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yahweh.
Commanding General Yahweh.
The generals.
The generals.
The captain.
The captain.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it.
Sark, which means to turn and face the teacher. Men of Israel, salute to the teacher. Mashba, Maj, Barak, Yahaba, Shem Yahushua, Barakatah.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah.
Azmatah, courtesy salute to the sisters online. Men of Israel, Mashba, Maj, Barak,
Yahweh Shema Barakatah Shem Yahushua.
Azmatah, class dismissed. Record class as usual, priest.
Hey, what are you? Chiming in and shit.
I'm just here for the ride.
Right.
Let me know when we go flying.